So, alright, so first and foremost, I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, but Shemi Oshai, Shemi Kakadash. We said on some person, Elijah Grimus, and Rua teaches our personal truth. And we see salutations, solely Akimus, the push would know truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season after season. We see Shalom. Once again, going into a video here, and it's basically touching upon some news, right? Because there's a lot, if you're keeping up with the news, there's a lot of stuff that is happening right now. Before I touch upon this one, early this morning or late last night, according to which party is in the world, it will be according to your time, right? So let me just read what. Let me just see what I wanted to read here quick. Let me see if I see it here quick. It's something to do with Venezuela, right? Yeah, look at right here. CBS 2 armed Venezuelan F-16 fighter jets flew over a U.S. warship today, right? So you're seeing where the tensions are high when it comes to things like war, right? Because we know what America literally wants to do with Venezuela, and the reason why they are doing these things. But nonetheless, this article here states French hospitals brace for mass casualties by March 2026 per health ministry. Doctors, regional agencies told to prep for wounded soldiers from potential European conflicts. Say hospitals could expect 10,000 to 50,000 casualties over 10 to 180 days. Plans involve creating medical hubs near ports and airports for potential evacuations. Now, I remember doing some months ago, I did a video touching upon how Europe, right, and certain countries in Europe were telling their citizens to prepare for they was literally telling them to prepare for war or to prepare for some dangerous days, right? To make sure they have food, make sure they stock up on certain things for like 3 days, right, and so on. And now we're reading here about the French hospitals brace for mass casualties by March 2026 per health ministry docs. Now we're reading the stuff that's going on in Venezuela. We've seen the stuff that's happening in the Middle East. We've seen the stuff that's happening in Russia and Ukraine and many other places, right, that are seeing things like wars could break out at any moment, right? Now when you go into the scriptures, right, when you go into the scriptures in the book of Matthew 24, and I'll start from verse 3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And there's a question, right? They was asking a question. Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So they're asking about the signs of the coming of the Lord and the end of the world, right? Because again, one of the things that I pay attention to is the signs, right? When you look at the word sign, let me just get in the my sword, right? Sign. Here when I do this, I think I'll go here from Matthew, right here, right. Right, so when you look at the word signs, it say a sign, a mark, a token. It said that by which a person or a thing is distinguished from others and is known, right? So it say distinguished, should asking about them signs, right? It says a sign, a prodigy, potent. It say unusual occurrence transcending the common course of nature. It say of signs, it say portending remarkable events soon to happen. Right? Portending remarkable events. Because when you look at that word portending, right? Let me get a quick on the Google here. Portending. Right? Right, so when you look at the word portending, it means it's be a sign or warning that something something momentous or calamitous is likely to happen. And that is what them signs going into, right? A remarkable event. That would say portending. That would say what? A warning, right? A warning of something calamitous is likely to happen. So they ask about the signs and the signs, right? the signs of thy coming and the end, the sign of thy coming and the end of the world, and the end of the world, right? It says to even meaning the word sign say an indication, right? An indication. So let's go back to the scripture. Matthew 24, verse 4. And Yahweh answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? So whereas you see in the wars and the rumors of the wars, all these things are signs, right, of the end to come. So when you're reading things like these, all these are signs, right, of that remarkable, let's say, what portent means of something momentous or calamitous is likely to happen, and we see in those signs, something is coming along the way. Right now, we see into the corners of the earth, we see in war on each side. No matter where it is a turn, because, for example, the people in the Caribbean here, they thought that whatever happened in the Middle East wouldn't reach here, but we actually seeing it right now. On the island here, these people are actually frightened on a day-to-day basis, because at any moment, because we close to Venezuela, we know the island of Trinidad, they actually we're very close. One part of our to the south side of Trinidad, they could actually come out, if they live close to the beach, and they would see the island of Venezuela, right? That is how close it is. And right now, some of them is the news. They're seeing on the news that they're in fear, right? But these were the same people. If you ask them a year ago or some months ago, certain things, they would tell you the Lord is a Trinity. Nothing going to come unto us. That is how these people is be making. That is how the Jakes on this side is be living. Now nothing going to come unto us, man. It is what it is. Better will come if you ask them. Now it reach, all of a sudden they fear. And the Lord continue to tell us that what he will laugh in the time of the calamity. He will mock when the fear cometh, right? Because why? They didn't want to hearken unto him, right? They rather be abominable, right? Live a life of sin than turn them back to the Lord. If it tell them to read the scriptures, they would not. They would rather scoff and scorn. Now that the evil is coming upon them, right? Now they will help, right? It say, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and that is what we're hearing about. So the signs, and the Lord telling them about what these things to come, right? It say, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Are we not? This is what we're hearing about here. French hospitals brace for mass casualties by 2026 per health ministry docs. Regional agencies told to prep for wounded soldiers from potential European conflicts. So where's that? Is that not a rumor? Is that hearing of wars? Is that not a rumor of war? Right? And again, some months ago, I could go back some months ago, I remember doing a video on it. I believe could be February month, could be March month. There were a bunch of articles, right, and news coming out about certain countries, certain European countries, telling their citizens to prepare, to prepare. I believe Germany was one, France was one in those earlies. I think what was this next place? I think Britain was one as well, right? Was telling their citizens to prepare. I remember England. I remember Germany, France. I believe it was Italy and Spain was telling the citizens to just remember 3 days of darkness, or something along those lines, right? So all these are signs. You need to pay attention to the signs. It says, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? So telling them, hey, all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, because the end is going to be greater, right? The end is going to be greater for all. So in other words, all these things that happen, right? You have to hear about these things. You have to see these things, right? It must come to pass. It say for verse 7, it say, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And we are seeing that right now, right? We're seeing that right now. We're seeing Venezuela, we're seeing America, we're seeing America, Russia, we're seeing China, Taiwan, we're seeing Russia, Ukraine, we're seeing Israel, Palestine, We've seen the UAE start to come into it now. We've seen Turkey starting to activate, right? Oh, and many other stuff that we've seen. Nation rising against nation, right? Even the ones nations that were considered weak, they becoming what they're saying they were strong, right? So you say, for nations arise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. You say all these are the beginning of sorrows, and this is just the beginning of sorrows, the things to come, right? This is just the beginning. Because when you hear about it, to prepare for wounded soldiers, 10,000 casualties, 10 to 50,000 casualties, there is sorrows, because there is great death, plenty mourning, right? You know, we not people think it's a game. You know, people think like it's a game. As a jolly example, right, of these people along on this side that in the Caribbean here that thought nothing would come onto them. They would believe that you know, when war happened and it would never touch them. Right? Now you see in shit Venezuela, say the whole Caribbean go feel it. Right? I believe it was last night on our local news. I think one of the Venezuelan ministers made a statement that this is just the beginning, right? It's just the beginning of things to come. And we're seeing right now, with the time that we're in, nations not backing down at all, right? They're not backing down at all, right? Jump to our scripture here. I'm gonna go to the book of 2nd Ezra, right? 7. Not 7, sorry. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, and I'll read from verse 1. He said, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass which I have told thee before. And again, he said the word signs pop up. Right? It said, Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the heights will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the beginning that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that made is in the world, all that is made in the world had a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So the end is being made manifest. And when you look up that word manifest, right? Manifest, right? Get the meaning for the word manifest here. It's say acting as an adjective, meaning say to make obvious or clear. So the end is being made clear, right? I would say so the end is manifest. So the end is being made clear, because we are what? We are seeing the signs of these things happening. So we see we are at the end of times. Now, is it the end then? No, this is just the beginning of things to come, right? So the end is being made manifest. So again, pay attention to all the things that are happening, to the signs. Is that why it said to do what? To measure all the time diligently in itself, right? To measure all the time diligently in itself. And we're in a time where it's going to be bad. In other words, it's going to be very bad, right? War on each side of the world. We're seeing different plagues with different pestilences happening, famines. We're seeing the shortages of food, right? We're seeing mass casualties. We're seeing all these things. We're now in a time of peace. The scriptures talk about knowing the seasons, right? So once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. We say that once a person, a lot of great most and reward teaches our person the truth. And we see salutations, so the Akim must push with our truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season and the season. We say, Shalom.